Since BMW started in the early 1900s, they've been known to produce quality. Everything from airplane engines to advanced chassis and motors, their name has been synonymous with one thing: performance. But when BMW started moving away from full-on performance and trying to become more of a luxury player, purists cried foul and started to wish they'd go back to the E39 and E46 days. This is not to say what BMW has come out with recently, that they still can't produce an amazing work of engineering, but it wouldn't be a stretch to say that they might have strayed the path a bit in recent years. Today we're going to talk about the 4 Series, but more particularly, my 2017 440i, here on Full Throttle Car Reviews.
Welcome everybody to the first episode of Full Throttle Car Reviews. I am actually really excited to talk to you today about my 2017 BMW 440i. So with it being our first episode, I thought I would review my car and talk a little bit about what I like about it, what I don't like about it, the exterior, the interior, the engine, the exhaust, everything about the car, the handling and whatnot. So the signature element of all BMWs is the twin kidney grille. What I really like about the twin kidney grille is that not only is it's a BMW signature element, but also the fact that it is functional. What I mean by that is that the twin kidney grille allows for air to pass through into the engine, cool all of the internal components under the hood and everything, but it's easily distinguishable at the same time whenever you see a car with that type of, whenever you see a BMW with that type of grille coming down the road, and it's a BMW because of that twin kidney grille, and that's been around since basically BMW started making automobiles back in the 1900s. All right, so moving down from the twin kidney grille into these vents down here, with the track handling package and the M Sport package, you get an extra intercooler and you get an oil cooler as well. So that helps improve efficiency, but it also helps cool the engine a little bit better when you're pushing the car a little harder. These little sills that come out here, they provide extra downforce, and you can see here there's a lip that comes out here on this side, and then it also comes out a little bit right below the twin kidney grille. All of that helps provide downforce to kind of keep the car planted a little bit better on the ground when you're going faster. But yeah, moving back up to the headlights, I love the way that the headlights look. Again, it's a signature BMW look. They started doing it in the later 1900s when they started doing the LED daytime running lights, and it's that signature 4 rings around the headlights, so 2 on each side basically. Moving up from the BMW logo, you've got these strong character lines that really enhance the look of the front of the car. Gives it a really mean look. These lines kind of start from the front of the car and then they move back and then they run along the side of the car. So again, it's not only a really cool and sporty look on the car, but it's also functional as well. It helps with aerodynamics and efficiency, air flowing over the car and whatnot. So then moving on to the side of the car, I first want to talk about real quick these side air curtains. So there's air curtains on both sides of the front of the car. So basically what happens is when air is coming towards the car, when you're driving, when air is flowing over it and through it, basically air will pass through this little air curtain down here, and then it'll flow around the wheel, and then it'll go through this other vent right behind the wheel and come out the side vent right here. And that helps with aerodynamics and also cooling the brakes and the tire as well. But yeah, moving down the side of the car here, I want to also talk about the wheels. They're Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, so they are summer tires and they're sportier tires. But I love these tires. They provide great grip, they provide great tread life, and I love the tires. talking about the brakes, these are 4-piston caliper brakes. Now, these are specific to the M Sport package and the track handling package. Now, that gives you a little bit more bite on the rotors and everything, and that helps you slow down a little bit quicker than if you have the standard brakes on the car without the track handling package. And I love the brakes. They last a pretty long time, so in my opinion, I think they're worth it. Moving on to the rear here, again, 19-inch rims, but also, on the rear brakes, you get 2-piston calipers. So, slightly smaller calipers, but, still really good bite on the brakes when, you're stomping hard on that brake pedal. You got your 440i badge back here, so, again, that's a signature element of all BMWs. Through the late 1900s into the early 2000s, BMW actually used to have reasoning behind the numbers on the back of their cars. So like the number nomenclatures, like, so for instance, BMW 328i. Back then, that would actually have meaning. So it would be, for instance, a 3 Series with a 2.8 liter inline 6. They don't do that anymore. All right, so moving down from the back of the car, down to the exhaust pipes. I love how BMW has always done real exhaust. There's a lot of brands right now are doing fake exhaust. You've got twin exhausts out the back here. And in the past, also, BMW would usually distinguish, their 4 cylinders or even their inline 6s between the standard inline 6 or motor and the twin scroll turbocharged inline 6. So, what I mean by that is that the 328s in the past or the 428s in the past, they would just have basically a single dual tailpipe on the left side of the rear car. And then on their twin scroll turbocharged inline 6, they would have the dual tailpipes at the back. So this one has the dual tailpipes at the back, so that's a turbocharged inline 6. So under the hood of this 2017 BMW 440i, so basically, after 2016, BMW started moving to a new BMW architecture for their engines. Basically, what I mean by that is that the BMW engine that was being put in the 2016 models and before was the N55. And in this one, it's a B58. And basically, they made some internal adjustments to the engine and also made it a air-to-water type engine, which helps cool the engine a little bit better. Makes it more efficient. Especially when you're pushing the car a little bit harder. But they increased the power figures to 320 horsepower, 330 pound-foot of torque over the previous 300 horsepower and 300 pounds-foot of torque. In the N-Series BMW engine architecture. Now, with those figures in this B58, that 320 horsepower and 330 pound-foot of torque will actually get the car 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds, which is pretty dang quick, if you ask me. BMW, and actually all German brands really, Audi, Mercedes, they all like to kind of undersell their specs or their 0 to 60 claims. So, basically what I mean by that is that BMW on paper will say that this goes 0 to 60 in about 4.7, 4.8 seconds. In real life, it actually gets closer to 4.5, 4.4 seconds. But, it's a great engine. It sounds amazing. This engine likes to rev, really freely. And, when it gets higher up in that higher rev range, it really sounds amazing. Inline 6s are sort of a rare breed these days. Some of the automakers are actually starting to come out with more inline 6s. Not just the German automakers, but then some others are also downsizing their engines as well into just turbocharged 4 cylinders. But the inline 6 in BMWs have always been a really big favorite of BMW purists. Just the way they sound and just how they rev and whatnot. I mean, they've always been a real big favorite among BMW purists. Talking about the interior, BMW has always done driver-focused interiors. Everything is sort of leaned or tilted towards the driver. I mean, everything is just basically focused on the driver. And BMW does that because they want to make sure that the driver can focus on driving, and basically everything is easily within reach and whatnot. I love that the way that BMW does their interiors. It's simplistic, but it's also functional. I love that the steering wheel that BMW does on their M Sport cars. So like with the M Sport package on this car, you get their M Sport steering wheel, which basically gives you a 3-spoke steering wheel, and then it also gives you a little BMW M logo at the bottom of the steering wheel. Everything is nicely well laid out in front of you, in front of the driver. So you get on this 2017 BMW, you get analog gauges, and I know that a lot of the automakers out there are doing digital gauges and whatnot, but I love basically how BMW has done this interior. Moving on to the navigation or infotainment center of the interior of this BMW. So I love how BMW does their infotainment. What they have with their infotainment screen or infotainment system is their iDrive software. So what they do is they've got a little knob down here in the center stack area where you can just control everything within the infotainment system. And their software that they use with this iDrive system, I believe it's iDrive 6.0, is very snappy. It's very quick to move around in the system settings and whatnot. But I love how simple it is and easy to use and everything.
Navigation is not active.
And there she goes talking to me. But we are now driving the BMW 440i, and we are in sport mode right now. Actually, we're in Sport Plus mode, but just to kind of give you an idea of what the handling looks like, we're gonna kind of drive some twisty roads a little bit just to give you an idea, but also talk through sort of like the different drive modes that this BMW has. So the first mode is Eco Pro mode, and that's kind of for the the efficiency, help save on gas a little bit. I've been in that mode a couple times. It doesn't save a ton of gas. It saves a little bit, but it doesn't save a ton of gas. The next mode is Comfort mode, and that kind of balances the engine performance and the steering performance as well. So now, like I said, this car has the M Sport package and the track handling package. And that basically gives you adaptive dampening, the M Sport adaptive dampening, and it also gives you the variable sport steering. So, and basically what the M's adaptive suspension does is that it basically monitors the way that the road imperfections are, and it also helps with cornering as well. So if you're doing like high speed cornering, the suspension in sport mode, it's going to have a firmer suspension field than in comfort mode. So and then conversely, the variable sport steering is going to have a little bit more heft, or I guess feedback when you're turning the steering wheel when you're in sport mode or sport plus mode. So right now we're in sport mode, and that with that also it enhances the engine sound. Sounds a little bit more aggressive. The exhaust sounds more aggressive. In sport mode, you get the burbles and the crackles and everything as well from the exhaust, which sounds really nice. But as far as like just like handling goes, like we're on a twisty road right now, but it's in sport mode. I feel like that's the best mode to be in if you want to have a little bit more livelier driving dynamics. I love the way that this BMW handles. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, when you put your foot down when you're in sport mode, I mean, it gives you a nice little push. it's a lot of fun. Before you know it, you're into illegal speed limits. But yeah, so it's a great handling car. I mean, you can really explore the vehicle's limits. With this car. I mean, just the combination of the turbocharged straight six and just the balanced chassis that BMW has come up with in this car. It's a lot of fun to drive on your favorite back roads. So to close out with some final thoughts on my 2017 440i, I would say that BMW still knows how to make a good sports car that balances comfort and sport. I love the design language, the driving dynamics, and the way it sounds when you're revving it towards redline. It might have lost some of its touch from the E46 days, but sometimes you have to evolve and do something different, while still appealing to most everyone else. Because the auto industry is a brutal space, and if you aren't doing something different, then you're already behind. Thanks for watching, and hope you took something away from this video review. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you can always stay up to date when we release future content. And if you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button. Until next time, on Full Throttle Car Reviews.